Hello everyone, my name is Rexy, and welcome to the second part of my Pokémon Maralocke, covering Generation 2. The Maralocke has a Nuzlocke of the 32 mainline games in release order. The standard Nuzlocke rules are in play, plus no overleveling past the gym leader's ace, and the species I use in the Hall of Fame can't be used again. That means I can't reuse anything that got into the Hall of Fame in red, blue, and yellow. If you want to see how Generation 1 went down, go check it out to get the full story. Anyway, across Gen 2, I can use any one of 95 evolutionary lines, which doesn't include legendaries, but does include split evolutions. To compensate for some absent Pokemon in Gold and Silver, Crystal also has access to some previously post-game Pokemon with the Goldenrod Game Corner and the Odd Egg. Plus, some trainers that you register with the Pokegear can give you one of the 4 no longer for sale evolution stones. Do also note that Sunkern only appears at the National Park, which evolves via Sunstone I can only get by winning the bug catching contest at the very same place. Thus, I can only champ it in its base form if I choose to. Likewise, the Champion's Ace is at level 50, so Dragonair also can't evolve. And since the Johto Pokédex is essentially the Kanto Pokédex with a handful more species, my choice of champs in Fire Red and Leaf Green will later have an effect on Heart Gold and Soul Silver, so I needed to be mindful of that. Additionally, I play with a soft Droop's Claws. If I have its Pokédex entry, I don't catch it. But that does mean catching more than one of an evolutionary line. So let's talk about Generation 2, Gold, Silver, and Crystal. They also don't get many Nuzlocke videos out there, but it's mostly because of its own flaws with low-level Pokemon for most of the way. However, the type matchups are more refined, 2 more types got added to nerf the powerful Psychic type, held items got introduced, and various moves that were broken in Gen 1 also got revisions more in line with what they do today. Also, there's a day-night cycle, which allowed me to play around with encounters, and it's also the same reason why I started my journey with breaking curfew for the sake of Professor Elm's science. This time around, all 3 games picked a different starter. In turn, they picked a Chikorita, Totodile, and Cyndaquil, and they were named Snape, Chesto, and Princeton. He sent me on an errand to collect an egg from this Mr. Pokemon guy on Route 30, but then he called me to say he got mugged. So we rushed back through the grass, even if it meant shielding Princeton from the savage Poliwag, then revenge hit the red-haired thief on the way back to New Bucktown. Telling our story to the police wasn't fun, but at least one of his aides gave me Pokeballs to build up a party. And that's exactly what I set out to do. Gold and Silver found a Hoot on Route 29, naming them Pigwidgeon and Asper, while Crystal met Alina the Rattata. Route 46 is one of 2 early game locations where you can catch a Geodude, which would make early games so much easier. Gold unfortunately ran into Tonks the Rattata, but Silver and Crystal got lucky with meeting Pecha and Ragnar. The Route 30 encounters couldn't have been more different. Filch the Spinarak, Cherry the Rattata, and Tornacol the Hoot. Gold tried one more time to get a Geodude in the nearby Dark Cave, and we were thankful to get that rather than an obnoxious Zubat. Welcome to the team, Hagrid! Silver and Crystal found a Zubat each and named them Roast and Tuppence, which will be important for later. And Crystal's aim to diversify the team paid off thanks to Boya the Poliwag on Route 31 and Kirill the Bellsprout on Route 36, but only the former went into the party. Not so long after reaching Violet City, Gold also took a detour into the ruins of Alph, already thinking of a potential joke Pokemon for the Elite Four. By solving one of the puzzles outside, a whole bunch of Unowns started spawning. The Unown we ran into had a hidden power resisted by grass and did normal damage to bug, stroke, poison combined, so it could have been either water, electric, or ground. Horcrux was safely caught, and it turned out that the hidden power type was ground. When preparing for the first gym, everyone also thought it would be a good idea to climb Sprout Tower and defeat the trainers there. Everyone met a Ghastly, naming them Umbridge, Leopard, and Terry. But let's also reflect on the stage at the top of the building that had a Hoot higher than the level cap. Nobody was worried though, as everyone's Geodude flat out walled it. Before long, everyone was ready for Falconer and his flying types, and the first obstacle is his illegal level 9 Pidgeotto. And while a Geodude is a fantastic wall against normal and flying type moves, both of his birds also know the coverage move that is Mud Slap, a low-powered ground type move that always lowers the opponent's accuracy. Geodude can only fight with Tackle at that level, so that's exactly what Hagrid initially spammed for gold. But after reaching -6 accuracy, I swapped in Pigwidgeon to tank a Tackle while healing, then let him take out the bird with a final Tackle. The base stats for his Pidgeotto also meant Mud Slap can take it our main tackler Hagrid with a 4-shot, so I also relied on Pigwidgeon to take a Gust while healing for the second time, then take a second Gust while pushing for a Tackle of his own. Hagrid's Tackle and Mud Slap tank cycle happened again, thus I needed a second pivot. Strangely, I went for Snape to hold back another Mud Slap and do as much damage as possible with Razor Leaf, all while holding back a Gust, which in hindsight would have been a bad idea if it landed a crit. There was still enough room to use a priority move to finish, so Tonks went in, held back another gust, then finished it off with a quick attack. Silver remembered how horrible Mudslap Cheese can be, and thankfully Totodile isn't weak to any of its moves. Chesto led the charge and spammed Scratch against his Pidgey while it in return pushed with Tackle. 3 scratches, including 2 crits, brought it down. The following Pidgeotto immediately attacked with Gust. After 2 scratch attacks delivered, Chesto ended up in crit kill range and prompted me to swap in Pecha. He held back a soft Gust and 3 mud slaps, but despite that, he landed every single tackle without fail. Not wanting to risk a miss, I brought in Cherry, and he held back another mud slap and landed a quick attack for the kill like his rodent's predecessor. Crystal used the entire team. Princeton led against the first Pidgey and tackled as much as he could before mud slaps both messed with his accuracy and put him in crit range. Boyo was up next and took 2 attempts to put it to sleep with Hypnosis, then finished it off with a few bubble attacks. He unfortunately missed Hypnosis against the Pidgeotto as a gust also put him in crit range. Tornico, just like with Pigwidgeon, was only good enough to hold back 2 gust attacks while landing 1 tackle back. Ragnar finally went in, but he dealt only a single tackle while facing the after effects of Mud Slap. Terry went in, and after a few attempts and horrible potion use on my end, landed a Hypnosis and made the Big Bird sleep long enough for Ragnar to get it into the last quarter of its health. And like the last 2 times, that was low enough for a Rattata, Alina in this case, to tank another Mud Slap and finish off with a quick attack. Morning broke and everyone continued down to Route 32, where Gold and Silver met a Hoppip and named them Sprout and Oran. Crystal was lucky enough to just keep running into Bellsprout and Rattata, so a chance meet with Fisher Ralph on the bridge meant adding his contacts to the Pokegear. He's one of the few NPCs that would alert you about a nearby Pokemon swarm. Union Cave was where Gold and Crystal met a Sandshrew, naming them Pettigrew and Sancho, 2 potentially useful mules for later. But Sandshrew isn't there in Silver, and there's not much that could be done with Razdionyx. And Crystal almost was down a teammate when a Hiker's Geodude hit a crit rock throw on Terry, and he survived on 2 HP. At the other side of the cave was Azalea Town, where I learned Team Rocket had been on life support without Giovanni and had been taking Slowpoke tails in nearby Slowpoke Well. Everyone took a brief detour into Ilex Forest, where Gold and Crystal found a Canopy and named them Trelawney and Trode, but Silver found Figgy the Paris, taking the spot where Roast used to be. Down the well, Gold begrudgingly found Lovegood the Zubat, but thanks to Droop's claws, Silver and Crystal were able to get a Slowpoke and name them Persim and Angelo, but only Crystal immediately added him to the team. I felt bold and thought he could take on the Rocket Grunt's Ekans 3 levels lower, but Rap trapped him for 4 turns, and on the turn he got freed, he also got poisoned. I had a poison cure berry in the bag to heal afterward, but that experience told me to keep switch training until he's better prepared. In the middle of the clear out, Crystal got a call from Fisher Ralph about a swarm of Quillfish on Route 32, and that was where, after chucking all of my Pokeballs at her, Mira joined the box on the last ball. How exactly does this quirky species have the same catch rate as an Onix? Getting Team Rocket to scram drew the attention of our thieving rival, who wanted to pick a fight near Ilex Forest. Gold led with Pigwidgeon against this Ghastly. I accidentally used Foresight when he could already hit Ghost with Peck, but that turned out alright because it put him to sleep with Hypnosis and kept using Spite to reduce Foresight's PP instead of anything more useful. After Pick woke up, he pushed for a Peck 3-shot and dodged 2 uses of Hypnosis along the way. Hagrid handled the Zubat with a Rock Throw Oko while tanking a Bite, then ran 2 Rock Throws in the Quilava while tanking Ember, including a Potion Heal in the middle to protect from a potential crit. Silver used the same offensive strategy against Ghastly and Zubat with Asper and Pecha respectively. Hypnosis missed 3 times while spamming Peck, but once it did land, Cherry got switched into Nerf Spite and stayed in place while I used an Awakening on Asper. Our owl did go to sleep again upon switching, but because no move got used, Spite failed every single time. So I guess the better play would have been to immediately switch back our bird, making the Awakening use as wasteful as trying to tame edgelords on the internet. Eventually, Asper woke up and dealt 1 last peck on the ghost. Pecha dodged a Supersonic on the way to a Rock Throw Oko on the Zubat, and Asper went back in against the Bayleaf as a mighty tank against its Razor Leaf. He did get healed 3 times out of fear of a crit kill, plus it set itself up with a Reflect to make the assault harder, but 6 pecks in total eventually put it out of commission. For Crystal, Tornico stayed in the entire way against the Ghastly and was fine with risking lost Peck PP from Spite. And thanks to being at a lower level, Ragnar actually took out the Zubat with 2 Rock Throws, holding back a Confuse Ray and Bite. But then came the big, bulky Crocodile that was 3 to 4 levels above us and clearly illegal. Since Angelo resisted water, I let him tackle as much as possible until he ended up in crit range from his scratch attacks. Then anticipating another scratch, Terry stepped in, put it to sleep after 2 attempts, then chipped away with Lick for a while. After it woke up, it then hit hard with a water gun that would crit kill the following turn. I used Angelo to pivot into Tornicle, brushing away any kind of painful stab damage and pushed away with Peck. A later defense drop meant he could have gotten killed from a crit scratch here, which again is scary in hindsight. Another pivot into Terry later and he dropped another Hypnosis and a set of Licks, plus a potion heal in anticipation of a crit water gun. And upon awakening, I safely brought in Alina to finish off with a quick attack. Crazy, but I got there. Before the next gym fight, Snape and Princeton reached their mid-stage forms as Bayleaf and Quilava, and the more power the better when it came to Bugsy and his bug types. His Cocoon pair only knew Tackle and Poison Sting as attacking moves, which Gold's Opener of Umbrage was immune to and resisted respectively. She spammed Lick onto the former while taking 3 string shot speed drops and held back chip damage from the latter's Poison Sting with the same effects. Both also got paralyzed, making the speed drops useless. Silver sent out Chesto to spam Water Gun on them, and held back a Tackle and a Poison Sting, which also poisoned him. Crystal sent out Princeton to torch them with Emberocos. And the Cypher went out the same way every time, trying to lower the Geodude trio defense with Leer, but getting met with a Rock Throw Oko. Back at Alex Forest, I got the Cut HM in exchange for finding an angry-looking bird, then told it to Figgy and the Sandshrew duo to go further in. There was also this strange fowl that had a TM for Headbutt, which can be used to knock Pokemon from trees, a unique way to discover some encounters. Gold and Silver went back to Azalea Town. After Tonks and Cherry almost suffered a splitting headache, they left the area with Slughorn the Pineco and Pine Up the Execute. Gold was lucky to catch the former without going bang, but Silver had no access to Leaf Stones before postgame, so that's a breakfast item destined to rot away in the box. Bounce 34 was where Gold and Silver met a Drowsy, naming them Dumbledore and Citrus. But Crystal went further up and picked up an odd egg at the nearby daycare. The way I handle eggs in Nuzlocke is that they're my encounter for where it's received, and not where it's hatched. It also was a good place to let them raise up to 2 of my Pokemon, so Gold dropped off Horcrux and Filch, Silver dropped off Figgy and Oran, and Crystal only sent over Nira for now. I made sure to say goodbye before leaving the— What? Oran and Figgy in the same egg group? Those two must really want to start a family! Before going through Goldenrod City, Crystal registered Gina and Todd's phone numbers in the Pokegear. They can respectively give me a Leaf Stone and report about flash sales at the city's department store. The more frugal I played, the better. Further north was the National Park, where the squads met a woman who gave away a Quick Claw to everyone she met. Crystal added more to the social network with Bugcatcher Annie on Route 35 and Schoolboy Alan on Route 36. They could call me about Yanma Swarms and Firestone pickups respectively. Great if I happen to get a Growlithe on Routes 35 or 37. So the chance of getting a Yanma and an Arcanine on my team here are slimmer than Mother 3 getting an official English release. Silver stops by Route 36 and met a male Nidoran named Mago, which is a decent backup. In preparation for the next gym, Chesto gained its mid-stage form as a Croconaw, the Rattata trio evolved into Eradicate, and the Hoot Hoot trio became a Noctowl. Whitney's normal type gym is the stuff of nightmares for anyone who had played through the Johto games before, so all this backup is very welcome. Her Clefairy has Metronome, which could randomly pull something bad that can Oko in an instant. All 3 Eradicate took it out with a Hyper Fang in Quick Attack, though Gold dealt with Acid, Silver got the Flinch, and Crystal gave it a You Tried star thanks to Double Slap. Umbridge and Leper went in for the Miltank for Gold and Silver, held back a gentle first turn rollout, and did what all ghosts were born to do: drop an unforgivable curse! Hagrid and Petra then tanked the rest of its pinball movements while chipping away with Magnitude. However, Crystal's Ghastly Terry is male, and Miltank also knows Attract, so being able to pull off a curse isn't at all guaranteed. Alina stayed in and got 2 Hyper Fangs in, holding back 2 Rollet attacks, but for some reason I thought a Quick Attack would finish it, and I was blind to not even notice how much damage Hyper Fang was originally doing. So of course, she went down to a 3rd rollout hit. I brought in Ragnar to tank the 4th level of rollout and finish with a middling Magnitude, but not noticing the average damage output for Hyper Fang was something that I regretted. I'm sorry, Alina. Say hi to the goddess for me. The 3rd batch let us carry a cute little watering can called the Squirt Bottle, which would agitate the funny tree-shaped stones blocking the northern parts of the map. Gold even opted to catch one of these, a Sudowoodo named Lupin, who then took Hagrid's spot. And just before reaching Equitique, Crystal bumped into Mori the Pidgey on Route 37, so it then was impossible to have a Yanma and an Arcanine. The Pokemon Center was where we met the one-man tech support that was Bill, a took his off run visiting his house in Goldenrod later, and the squads each met an Eevee named Dobby, Kelpsy, and Ruff. But only Gold had any resemblance of an idea for it. The branching paths west and east out of Equity gave us access to potential new friends. On Route 39, Gold took on Pomfrey the Miltank, while Silver and Crystal caught a Tauros and named them Hanju and Carver. Crystal's odd egg also hatched here, but let me explain how it works. This thing could be one of 7 different Pokemon, which is interesting enough, but 86% of the time, the hatchling will have 0 IVs across the board. The other 14% would get decent IVs while also being shiny. And I got this thing. The Magme hatchling wasn't shiny, and it evolves at level 30, meaning she'll be way too frail to keep on the team. Sorry, Ashlyn, but you're going in the box. All the trainers also got falls for experience, but Silver did face a snag against Birdkeeper Toby. I had Leper out for experience, but I then learned that Nightshade in Gen 2 doesn't work the same way as in Gen 1. And cherry on top, it also had Pursuit, which I had no healing items for. I tried putting it to sleep with hypnosis, and indeed, it eventually fell asleep. But it only lasted for 1 turn, it woke up, and went for the kill with another Pursuit. This was not a dignified way to lose a teammate in the slightest, and taught me to watch out for anything that does indeed have Pursuit in its moveset. Replacing Leper was Mago, and while getting trained up to be on par with the rest of the team, he evolved into a Nidorino. The search continued at the other side of Mount Mortar, which does have an amazing late-game encounter if able to reach, but everyone got denied it. Gold and Silver boxed a matchup each named Hooch and Block, but Crystal's encounter with Golbat faced a painful crit horn attack from Carver. Gold didn't use anything called the other side of the mountain, but Silver and Crystal did. Route 43 was where Silver found a Giraffrig named Grepper, and she immediately took Hanju's spot. All that Crystal could catch here was a Sentret or a Ferret, while anything else got fought for experience, including this level 17 Raticate. Normally it would go down to a 3HQ or Ember, but nope. Hyper Fang crit. It's happened again! Princeton, why? I could have just switched into Ragnar to tank the hit! I did eventually find Mina the Sentret, but she didn't join us. Crystal did take on Yangus the Ekans at Route 42, and Silver made the enter the Fluffy named Quallet. While doing all this in Silver, my mother gave me a call and told me that she went into my nearly growing savings account to buy a useful item for the team. A Moonstone. After benching Citrus for Quallet, the mid-game team looked great, and even better when Mago touched the Moonstone and became a mighty Nidoking. Crystal received phone calls from Alan and Gina, having found a Firestone and Leafstone respectively. The latter would be great to use on Kirill, but not until he learns a decent Grass-type move at level 42, or 37 if he stays as a Bellsprout. And with the Firestone, it was now or never if Growlithe was to be a part of the gang, but we ran into a Snubbull. Sigh. I guess Millie will go in the box. And the bad luck even hit Silver at the bug catching contest in the national park, Millie ending up with a Caterpie named a Guave and a berry for compensation. After some training, including getting Yangus up to par and evolving into an Arbok, the squads bumped into the rival at the Burn Tower, probably looking to reanimate a dead dog or something. Gold accidentally led with Snape for experience, which is an awful matchup against Haunter, so Pigwidgeon went in, took a curse, then used Peck twice to finish it. Lupin's low kick was all we needed against the Magnemite despite going faster with Sonic Boom. Dumbledore's Confusion to HKO worked great against the Zubat despite getting hit from Confuse Ray, and Lupin braved Quilava's Ember while putting the fire out with Rock Throw. Grepper almost one-shotted the Haunter with Confusion, but a curse meant a quick switch out on defeat. Pecha rolled a good magnitude on the Magnemite while also dodging Supersonic. Asper was a better Razor Leaf tank against the Bayleaf as he took it down with 3 pecks, and Pecha returned for the Zubat with a Rock Throw eliminating at full health, at least after breaking out of Confusion first. Tornico got hit with the Haunter's curse right away, while Peck took out the remaining half of its health. Ragnar rolled a pathetic magnitude level 4 against the Magnemite, then he got confused with Supersonic and punched himself. A Sonic Boom and Confusion hit would take him out, so I let Carver take a Sonic Boom and clear the rest of its health with Horn Attack of all things. Zubat hit Angelo with a Confuse Ray, stalling his Confusion 2-hit KO, and thankfully, Bite neither hit a flinch or a crit. And Carver steps back in again against Croconaw to wall its Water Gun attacks. With 3 Horn attacks in return, the rival was defeated. In the morning, Crystal went for one last chance to get a Nidoran female at the National Park, but the team left with Mervyn the Ladybug, which is still better to use than a Sunkern, that's for sure. He then joined Neva in the daycare. The surviving ghastly pair, Umbridge and Terry, evolved into a Haunter, and the latter went one step further and became a Gengar via trade. Similarly, Petra and Ragnar became a Graveler each, while the latter also went further and became a Golem. In Crystal, Yangus got benched in favour of Millie, who became a Granbull, and Pomfrey officially joined Gold's team and got taught Surf for coverage. It's also a good idea to stock up on Awakenings before fighting the next gym leader, Morty and his ghost types. The reason for this is that his Ace Gengar can put people to sleep with hypnosis and leech away at energy with Dream Eater. So the less opportunities used to heal, the better. Gold sent Pomfrey first against his Ghastly. She ran through that and the weaker Haunter with 4 Surfs and the infliction of a curse, while also losing some Surf PP from the former's Spite. Pigwidgeon wasn't fast enough to hit the Gengar and quickly fell asleep from hypnosis, and Pomfrey could only send out 1 Surf before she too snoozed away. I tried to get Umbridge to paralyze with Lick, but that didn't kick in, and a normal non-crit Shadow Ball left her hanging on 1 HP. That was not smart of me at all. I swapped in Pomfrey on another Shadow Ball, used an Awakening to block Dream Eater, then let her push with 3 more uses of Surf to take it out. And then there was the stronger Haunter. Surf was a free HKO at best, but it then used Mean Look to trap her in, and I was down to just 1 more Surf use. I did have an Ether to replenish it, but that final Surf got the crit kill anyway. I couldn't believe it! Silver's lead with Gripper used Confusion to one-shot the Ghastly and the weaker Haunter, but couldn't quite take down the second one and was subject to Mean Look on the way to the 2 HKO. On the switch to Gengar, I brought Petra into play, and despite being slower, Hypnosis missed twice, leaving it open to 2 low-roll magnitude attacks. No damage! Ghastly and the weaker Haunter in Crystal just wanted to drop curses, so Millie and Ragnar switched out respectively after defeating them with Bite and Magnitude. Millie and Tornico tried their best against the Gengar with Bite and Peck respectively, but after it put them both to sleep with Hypnosis, it was up to Ragnar to tank it, though I still had to use 2 Awakenings on him to prevent Dream Eater from ever taking effect. He dodged the 3rd use of Hypnosis, used a weak Magnitude to finish it off, then after holding back a Nightshade from the stronger Haunter, a much higher strength Magnitude pulled it under. With Surf now able to get used in the field, Pomfrey took the Gold Squad for a swim in Necrotique's Pond, where we encountered Weasley the Poliwag. He took Umbridge's spot and soon evolved into a Poliwhirl after fighting more trainers. We could even do the same at the Lake of Rage, where I got told that there was a red Gyarados swimming about. What an amazing beast! Gold wanted it! And at level 30, the less hassle to level up, the better. Gold took to the water and... oh. Hello, Magikarp. So Nagini went to the box and stayed there. Silver and Crystal decided to go for a headbutt encounter instead. Crystal found Maya the Execute, which is another candidate for a Leaf Stone evolution, but the only grass-type move she could learn is 1 level higher than Weepinbell's best, so she got sent to the box on standby. Silver finally found a Pineco, but it exploded in front of Asper. So close, and yet so far. Everyone defeated the free shiny and picked up a red scale in the aftermath. Some Lance guy also spectated the entire thing, mentioned Team Rocket on their crazy pirate radio broadcast from back at the Mahogany Tesco Express, and roped me into this feeble gauntlet to shut down the machinery. Also, what kind of twisted person would command a Pokemon to harm a human? At least Dumbledore evolved into a Hypnoan down there, more befitting the headmaster of Hogwarts. Not long after the event, Crystal trekked all the way back to the place where we first met those criminals. Slowpoke Well. Servant strength gave us access to the lower floor, where I found a King's Rock. Normally it boosts the chance of flinching, but it's needed for something else down the line. Olivine City was where I met the rival again, but he told me that the local gym leader Jasmine is up the lighthouse taking care of some sick electric sheep. When I met her, she encouraged me to head to Cianwood and pick up some medicine before she could do her job again. So the squads took to the sea. Gold and Silver both caught a Tentacruel, respectively getting Diggory on Route 40 and Corn on Route 41. Silver also faced 2 evolutions out there, with both Chesto and Qualos reaching their final forms as Feraligatr and Ampharos at level 30. Cianwood also turned out to be the next gym destination. I could defeat Chuck, Price and Jasmine in any order, but his team is the weakest of the 3, and it made sense to challenge him 5th in line. And for added preparation, Crystal gave the King's Rock to Angelo and Trade evolved him into a Slowking. I honestly thought I could use the special defense more than physical, but we'll see. Chuck's fighting type sounded simple on paper, but Gold strangely had a difficult time. Dumbledore made a great start, only getting a late defense drop on the way to a Confusion 2HKO. Snape was meant to be a great matchup for his ace Poliwhirl, so after setting up a Reflect and dodging a Hypnosis, he missed Razor Leaf on the second turn and got put to sleep. Okay then. Dumbledore went in to fight with Confusion instead, but that's when it brought out Mind Reader, meaning he was guaranteed to snooze on the next turn. Out went Pigwidgeon, holding back Surf, but no fighting resistance also meant Poliwrath was ready to fight with Dynamic Punch, which always confuses the target if it hits. He landed it on Pig, who apparently was already in crit range. Help! Then Weasley and my two snoozers, Dumbledore and Snape, followed suit. Neither of them woke up, but Snape ended up dodging one somehow. What kind of dream are you having? At one point, I switched into Dumbledore and kept healing after every other surf as I hoped for him to wake up, but then I remembered something. This is Gen 2. PP isn't infinite on the opponent anymore. It was clearly not using Dynamic Punch. So Pomfrey swapped in, held back a surf, then landed the crucial, unnecessary crit stomp for the kill. Silver's lead with Greppa two-shotted the Primeape with Confusion, but got hit with a Leer, leaving her more vulnerable to the dreaded Poliwrath's Dynamic Punch. She joined Asper, Mago, and Chesto in an attempt to bait out that move, but all it wanted to use was Hypnosis. After exhausting that move's PP, I brought in Qualit to tank a surf and try to Thunder Punch it, but he got outspared and put to sleep. After failing to get Asper to wake up and fight, even with super potions to keep him up, I then healed up with Chesto and relied on him to tank Surf and hit with Scratch. In hindsight, I probably should have taught him Strength, but whatever. He did get put to sleep when dealing with those final hits, but that's what Awakenings are for. Crystal had Terry handling the fight alone. Primeape didn't have a single attacking move that could hit him, and all that Poliwrath could do was Surf, which is a special move and couldn't work in conjunction with Leer. After a Nightshade 3-shot, Terry switched things up and used Thunder Punch, only tanking a Surf on the way to the 2-hit KO. Also, did Chuck's wife just call him fat? Silver still wanted a Pineco after being denied one at the Lake of Range. Silver still wanted a Pineco after being denied one at the Lake of Rage, and its Volform Fortress is a decent wall for late game. I flew through Route 27 with Cherry on headbutt duty, but we ended up with a Beedrill. Another example of soft dupes claws going wrong, so that's normal in the box. The next non-linear gym was Price back at Mahogany Town, wielding two cool-looking ice types, and an ice type to be. Gold sent Lupin first. The Seal tried to fight with Aurora Beam, and it used Rest after getting hit for one move, but Lupin still handled it with two Rock Slide attacks and a low kick. Weasley washed over the Piloswine with two Surfs, holding back an Icy Wind with a speed drop that didn't deflect the flow of battle at all. The Dugong went the same as the Seal. Aurora Beam tanked, went to sleep after one Rock Slide, but it instead fell to two less risky low kick attacks instead of one and something else. Silver let Qualit one-shot the Seal with Thunder Punch. Chesto's Surf couldn't quite all-core the Piloswine, but it also falls back with a useless Icy Wind. Dugong also survived after one hit, but this time Rest negated Qualit's Thunder Punch. There wasn't much that could be done anyway, so more Electric Fist action brought it down. Terry all-cored the Seal with Thunder Punch and two-shots the Dugong with the same move, only holding back an Aurora Beam with no added effect. Angela was unsurprisingly slow against the Piloswine and held back another unnecessary Icy Wind, but that's okay, Surf hit a straight all-core. During the lengthy grind for Jasmine, Snape reached his final form as a Meganium, and Gold took a detour back to Slowpoke World too. After finding the King's Rock, it got used to trade evolve Weasley into a Politoed, and that meant he got access to Perish Song, which is one of the cheesiest moves you can get in a Nuzlocke. Silver also realized that Petra would be on the team for the long haul, and finally got trade evolved into a Golem. And after some trading, the squads went back to Olivine and fight her Steel types for... Oh, Gold and Silver forgot to give Jasmine her stupid medicine. Well, at least Gold found that moment was more eventful than the fight itself. Lupin was faster than the Magnemite duo and took them both down with a low kick, while Weasley went the same way against Steelix and washed it over with a Surf. Petra went all the way for Silver, using Magnitude on all opponents. I don't know why I kept him in for Steelix, as he also tanked an Iron Tail, and once again, a critical hit would have killed him. But there we are. The two Magnitude rolls on it were still good, and Crystal found it a joke. Magnitude, Surf, and Magnitude again. Nice work from Ragnar and Angelo. Upon leaving, Professor Elm rang and told me about Team Rocket dominating Top 40 radio, so I went to Goldenrod in the hopes of saving the music industry. There weren't really any difficult trainers, but there is this one executive that has a huge threat to Nuzlockers, with 5 coughing and a wheezing that almost all know self-destruct or explosion. Gold and Silver didn't face a problem with using Lupin and Petra respectively as meat shields, while Terry was completely immune and trivialized them for Crystal. I did bump into the rival again, but since his ace was barely higher in level than Price's Piloswine, he clearly was a non-issue. Neither was the lead executive, which can get easily taken down as long as you have something strong against fire. Once everyone left, the station manager gave me either a random wing or an equally random bell as some big attempt at a reward. What am I supposed to do with these? Display them in my house? At least Mary knew what I really wanted and gave me a pink bow, which boosts the power of all of those normal type moves my team has access to. I should listen to Pokemon talk more often. After sliding for days in the ice path and reaching Blackthorn City on the other side, I got myself geared up for Claire and her Dragon-type gym. Since the only way to land super effective hits is through Ice-type moves, I bought some Ice Punch TMs from Goldenrod and taught the move to those who could learn it. Weasley and Gold, Chesto and Mago for Silver, and Angelo and Terry for Crystal. Weasley, Chesto, and Angelo also went on to hold the Never Melt Ice to power up his efficiency even further. Gold additionally retired Dumbledore here and officially let Dobby join, pumping him full of calcium for the sake of friendship and evolving him into an Espeon during the day, all before actually learning a Psyche-type move at level 36. I guess we're in the good timeline, since nobody killed Dumbledore. I also let Snape hold the Quick Claw just in case, since I couldn't see anything else he could use against things that go roar. Silver and Crystal decided to retire Quillet and Carver after this gym. Ampharos and Tauros are great powerhouses and will be needed more in later legs. And Silver took a brief detour to Mr. Pokemon's house for the EXP share. It won't be needed until after getting the badge, but it'll still be a nice item to have. After playing a literal game of the floor is lava, everyone was ready to do battle with Claire. Her 3 Dragonair all have a different coverage move, but she always leads with the one that knows Surf. Weasley opened with an Ice Punch to HKO, but he did get paralysis from Thunder Wave. Snape went against the one wielding Thunderbolt in its moveset, and he also got paralyzed while spamming Body Slam, including one powered up from the Quick Claw. It still was a 3 shots with no crits, holding back 2 uses of Dragon Breath. Weasley held back slam attacks from the Ice Beam Dragonair, also on the way to an Ice Punch 2 shot. When the Kingdra got out, I sent in Pomfrey to use Stomp, and she got lucky initially, landing a crit and dodging a smokescreen. But then Claire ran a potion heal, and no amount of milk drink recovery could prepare us for continuing to go after it. I then pivoted into Weasley, used a full restore to heal and shake off the paralysis, dodged another smokescreen, then sealed the fight with Perish Song, taking a Hyper Beam and freezing with the second Ice Punch. Because of smokescreen, I didn't want to risk a miss and seeing Weasley fate to his own killing curse, so I swept in Snape to watch its counter go down to 0. Nice waste of a full heal, Claire. Chesto got the opening Ice Punch 2 HKO for Silver while also dodging Thunder Wave like a champ. Mago went against the Thunderbolt Dragonair because reasons, then landed a crit Ice Punch for a speedy knockout. Chesto went back in for the Ice Beam Dragonair and he took a Thunder Wave and 2 Dragon Breath attacks on the way to the eventual Ice Punch 2 shot. Then there was the Kingdra, which let Quillas go all in for one last battle. Things got off early as Smokescreen brought his accuracy down, and after tanking 2 surf attacks, he finally paralyzed it with Thunder Wave. Then in a blaze of glory, he pushed one last Thunder Punch, and so he's leaving the gym in a coffin. Thanks for everything, dude. Greppa ran Stomp Spam while it tried to break through the paralysis, including the turn where Claire went for a potion heal. But then I learned from the one surf tanks that a crit would have killed her! Not again! Either way, Chester got brought in to finish it, dodging a smokescreen and landing 2 more Ice Punch attacks for the KO. That wasn't well thought out, but Silver was glad to have just 1 casualty and not 2. Angelo was a slow choice for Crystal, getting paralyzed right away by the first Dragonair's Thunder Wave, but he broke through with an Orco Ice Punch. Terry was much faster, so he also had a single Ice Punch each on the other 2 Dragonair. Then there was the Kingdra, and I let Carver spam Strength on it. He did take a smokescreen accuracy drop, but he wasn't phased in the slightest. I then thought for sure that he'd go down to a Surf 2 HKO, but the second one low rolled and he lived on just 2 HP. I was hoping to use him as a sack, but no! He gets to live and have a happy retirement! But do you know who wasn't happy in the slightest? This girl. Claire wanted me to do some chore in the Dragon's Den, and of course, I needed some extra help. Gold boxed Pig and Silver buried Quillet so they could let Diggory and Corn join them as Whirlpool mules. Meanwhile, Crystal returned to the daycare to officially add Mira, teaching her the exact same move. Gold and Silver were instructed to find a dragon dentist experiment gone wrong, but Crystal spoke about their good deeds with this very peculiar branch of the RSPCA. After Claire finally caved in and gave her badge, we were ready to leave and head for the Pokemon League. On the way out, Professor Elm gave us a call so he could give us some Master Ball he got in a loot box. But we had to wait to use it, since the only way to go further in was a waterfall at Tojo Falls. Gold and Chris were able to teach the move just fine to Weasley and Mira, so that meant no extra mules for either of them. But Silver resorted to catching a Goldeen there, which got named Magost. She replaced Corn and got the task of heaving this party over this flow of water. Why does Feraligatr not learn Waterfall in this generation? The road to Indigo Plateau and the trainers along the way were problem-free. Gold had the financial advantage, with Pomfrey using Milk Drink to heal her teammates outside of battle, while her combat took more of a backseat. Silver had also left Petra behind for the simple purpose of one last chance to get a Pineco on Route 26, which immediately got in the Master Ball and named Rabuta. She also got given the EXP share, which allows her to gain experience in battle by doing absolutely nothing. Gold found Ponyta at the same place, but Lupin got too aggressive and defeated it with a single strength. Hold on, is it the full moon already? The last encounter of the game was at Victory Road, where Gold and Crystal underwhelmingly used the Master Ball on an Onyx pair named Crumb and Stellar. But Silver found Pamtree the Dawn fan, and they honestly felt a version exclusive would be interesting to use on the team. And again, we had no problems with the rival at the exit simply because his ace was much lower than Claire's. So how the hell did he get inside Victory Road without a Blackthorn gym strategy? Once at Indigo Plateau, we made our preparations for the final gauntlet of the game. Silver took some extra time to train Rabuta, evolving her into the single weakness wall that is Fortress. Gold and Silver retired their birds Pigwitch and Asper, respectively getting Horcrux and Noran out of the daycare. They be great sentient airships, but the quality was needed for a much later leg. And that later leg was indeed Crystal! Yup, Tornico stayed as part of the in-game team, while Ragnar went in the box in place of Mervyn from the daycare. Owen and Mervyn soon ended up in fighting shape and evolved into a Jumpluff and Lydian. And thanks to catching Pamtree, it feels obvious who would replace Magost. Rare candies in the overworld stayed in single digits unless you count Buena's password in Crystal, so in addition to getting everyone up to the same level as Karen's Houndoom, I also opted to push the entire squad as close to the next level as possible. Either way, everyone is set for their runs through the Elite Four. First up was Will and his psychic types. There are so many of them here in Johto, but I have no idea why he opted to use 2 totem birds in his lineup. Gold only needed Dobby. The first Xatu landed a Confuse Ray, but I kept him in for the second Xatu due to only knowing Psychic and Quick Attack for damage output, and he luckily snapped out right away. Xatu 1 went down to a Bite and Quick Attack, Will used the Max Potion on Xatu 2, which resulted in 2 bites and a Quick Attack, and Dobby then stayed in for the rest of his party, all of them getting a Bite 2 HKO, and all of them also getting flinched when they were supposed to attack. What are the odds? Gripper also went solo for Silver and hit every single one of his teammates with a Shadow Ball each. The first Xatu survived, used Psychic and went down to Headbutt. Jinx was an Oko, and Exeggutor and Slowbo got the 2 HKO while using Psychic back and setting up with Amnesia respectively. The second Xatu also survived one and used Confuse Ray, then Will healed with a Max Potion, but she still broke out of Confusion twice to finish off with Headbutt and that last Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball. Crystal kept switching back and forth between Angelo and Millie. Angelo all-called the first Xatu with Ice Punch, but was hit with a Confuse Ray while doing so. He also overruled Confusion with Psychic in time for the next fight, so that's nice. Millie stepped in for the Exeggutor and also sent a Shadow Ball 2 HKO, but also got hit with Leech Seed in between attacks. Out she went into Angelo for Jinx, tanking double slaps as he crashed over with 2 Surfs. Back to Millie for the strongest Xatu, where she also got hit with a Confuse Ray, punched herself in the face and attacked a Psychic, but on the second attempt, Shadow Ball took it down from full health. Angelo then stepped in for the Slowbo, where he spammed Earthquake to get past its ridiculous defensive bulk. Paralysis through Body Slam got in the way, but the third EQ landed a crit and gave us the W. Next up was Koga, the former Kanto gym leader that must have gotten a promotion since last time. While mainly a poison fighter, he does have a fortress of his own, which is why Lupin and Terry swaps their items out for the charcoal. Gold still needed Dobby for most of the way, including the initial Psychic Oko on the area dose. Lupin did his thing with a 5-punch 2 HKO, as that prickly fortress dropped some spikes onto the field. Dobby injured himself on them upon re-entry, but he still went first against the Mug, Crobat and Venomoth in turn with 3 more Psychic one-shots. I also want to believe the Quick Claw activated when he fought Crobat, but the game doesn't tell you if it activates or not, so it doesn't matter. Silver's lead of Gripper one-shotted the Ariados and Venomoth, and Maggle's 5-punch did the same in the Fortress despite not holding the charcoal. Gripper's side B was a 2-shot on the Muck when the second hit finally landed thanks to Minimize Cheese, and the same story was also said with Maggle, Thunder Punch, and Crobat's attempt to evade with Double Team. Neither opponent had anything to deal horrible damage back, so all was still good. Crystal had Angelo, who handled the Ariados, Venomoth, and Muck with an Oko Psychic each, and Terry did the same thing to Fortress with a charcoal-boosted Fire Punch. He also fought against the Crobats, pushing with 3 Thunder Punches to take it out thanks to full restore use and only tanking a Wing attack along the way. Bruno is still there and traded away one of his old Rock Snakes for an actual fighting type. Gold had no problems as Dobby ran 4 Psychics through the fighting types and Weasley washed over the Onyx with a Surf. The Hitmonchan did hurt Dobby with the Mach Punch, but that's it. It's the best this Born for Brains could do. Silver had Grepper, but Psybeam didn't take out the Hitmontop initially. However, it stupidly used Dig and went out with an Earthquake the following turn. Chisel Surf one-shotted the Onix. Grepper held back 2 Mach Punch attacks while running a 2-shot Psybeam on the Hitmontop. Grepper surviving a crash drop meant a crit would have killed her, and we were lucky to get the Psybeam to HKO. Then Mago took down the Hitmonlee with 2 Thrash turns despite getting confused from Swagger. For Crystal, Angelo both Ult-Cold and got outsped by the entirety of Bruno's team. 4 Psychics and a Surf were what it needed, but he also missed 1 Psychic because of Hitmontop's Dig, tanked a Thunder Punch from Hitmonchan, braced for Earthquake from Onix, and didn't face anything from Hitmonlee and Machamp thanks to Foresight and a Rock Slide miss respectively. What a legend! Leading the group was Karen, pioneering the use of Dark types. But she still took a leaf out of old Lady Agatha's book and added some Poison types too. Gold sent out Snape against her Umbreon. He set up a light screen to hold back special moves, including all stabbed Dark type moves. But it also knew Sand Attack, which brought its accuracy down 1 stage, and Confuse Ray, which prompted me to switch out for damage control, only for Weasley to meet the same fate. He and Snape both fought with Body Slam, and once he got confused as well, Snape went in to finish it off. The rest of their party almost all got met with Orcos. Vileplume with Psychic from Dobby, Murkrow with Rock Slide from Lupin, Gengar with a combination of Earthquake from Pumphrey and using Curse in itself, and Houndoom with Surf from Weasley. Silver had Mago first against the Umbreon. Double Kick brought itself down to over half, but Sand Attack lowered its accuracy, so I needed another plan. Maboot attacked all uses of Feint Attack and dodged a Sand Attack, then pushed through with 2 uses of Takedown for the KO. Chesto gave the Houndoom a shower with a single Surf, Grepper landed 2 Psybeams on the Vileplume while dodging a Stun Spore, Mago's Thunder Punch was a one-shot on the Murkrow, then Gengar harmed itself with Curse while the Ground-type Hidden Power from Palm Tree finished it off. Why couldn't Dumbfoundland dig either? Toynacle led the charge for Crystal, and his use of Fighting-type Hidden Power almost took Umbreon all the way. But 2 Sand Attacks and a Confuse Ray happened, and he couldn't deal that last hit. So I swapped in Mervin, who held back a Feint Attack and finished it with Swift. Mira handled the Houndoom with 2 Mystic Water-boosted Waterfalls, surviving a non-crit crunch in the process. So that's another potential sack saved for the champion fight. Toynacle almost took down the Vileplume with Fly, but he got hit with a Stun Spore, it kept healing with Moonlight, and takedown damage was barely negating its recovery. Once it locked itself in with Petal Dance, it was safe for Terry to tank the rest of its Rampage and finish it with a Fire Punch before one-shotting the Murkrow with Thunder Punch. Finally, there was Gengar. Millie, one that I also didn't think was usable for the final fight, stepped in on this one and went Oko with Shadow Ball, but the worst also happened as well. Millie got killed thanks to Gengar going first with Destiny Bond. You can rest easy now. The remaining fighters made their preparations for the final battle. Lance, our tag team partner back at Mahogany, as the region's champion. With the rare candies out in the overworld, most of them got boosted to level 50 to match his strongest Dragonite. Pumphrey and Terry got given a magnet, and Mago overall double kick with an Ice Punch TM in my bag. The battle then started. Pumphrey led the assault against the Gyarados with a magnet boosted Thunder Punch, but then tanked a crit Hyper Beam. Also to recharge, she opted for Milk Drink recovery, then went back in with 1 more Thunder Punch to finish it off. Weasley called the 2 weaker Dragonite with Ice Punch, but the one at level 50 set up with Safeguard after tanking a hit, and got healed with a full restore. It still got brought down with 3 Freezing Fists to the chest. After taking out the Charizard with a single Surf, he exceeded the level cap and tagged in Lupin for Lance's last Pokemon, Aerodactyl. Both Pokemon opted for Rock Slide, but Lupin got flinched 3 times in a row, and with 21 HP remaining, his Rock Slide hit and killed it from full health. Did you see that? Nobody died in gold! We can have a rain party at the Hall of Fame! Silver's team took his lot out almost entirely with Orcos. Mago's Thunder Punch brought down the Gyarados, Chesto's Ice Punch handled one of the weaker Dragonite and the strongest one, Babuta one-shotted the other weaker Dragonite with Explosion, RIP, and Chesto's Surf bathed the Charizard. Aerodactyl, however, remained tricky. It went first and got the Omniboost with Ancient Power, so Surf didn't Oko, and I kid you not, he then tanked a crit Hyper Beam at 12 HP. He finished it off with 1 more Surf for the W, meaning teaching Ice Punch to Mago was completely unnecessary. And Crystal ran a broadcast of the Terry and Angelo show. Terry called the Gyarados with Thunder Punch and both weaker Dragonites with Ice Punch. Angelo held back a Hyper Beam before washing away the Aerodactyl with a single Surf. The stronger Dragonite set up with Safeguard before getting met with Angelo's Ice Punch. And Charizard tried the best it could with Slash before also facing the raging tsunami that is Angelo's Surf, securing victory. And just like that, Nuzlocke got completed in the entirety of Generation 2. Gold not only had the entire Hall of Fame roster survive until the end, but had no deaths in the run at all, which is rare even for me. We still had our champ fodder moments, which would also open opportunities down the line to get through some tougher situations. We're going to Horn next. I'll catch you in the next installment where I head for Generation 3, so subscribe to see the next video as it goes live. For now, Rexy out, thanks for watching, and tell Oran that he's the world's best dad.